Haya Kongo manawa yo Kongo manawa. Kongo manawa. Kongo manawa yo Kongo manawa. Kongo manawa. Yo Kongo manawa.
Hello everyone. So this is one of the first videos that I'm going to make for the upcoming year. I'm planning on making more videos, so we'll see how it goes. First things first, it's a little bit cold in this room. It's winter here in Madrid, so like I'm a little bit shaky. I am a bit nervous, but I'm shaking because of the cold, so hopefully that will fade away a little bit. I'm trying to heat up the room at the moment. Anyway, let's get into it. So this video, I wanna discuss something that I noticed that a lot of people have problems with. A lot of beginners have problems with, and that is fear and anxiety when spirits finally start approaching you, or when that first magic thing that you did actually works. So I had a client today, and without going into too much details, because I don't like speaking about clients too much, but this was an interesting case. He messaged me after I did a reading for him a few days ago, and he told me that he was suffering from anxiety and fear. He couldn't sleep well, and he had some issues at night particularly. So I went over his reading and to see if there was anything that I missed, and then I came to the following conclusion after speaking with him, and that was because the spirits that he met during my consultation, because in my readings I contact the person's spiritual guides, I contact the person's ancestors and tell them about it, and ask what things they would like to have, ask them if they have messages for the client, and just general things, so I can inform the client about his spiritual course, and give him advice on how to work with these spirits, how to get to know them better, and things like that. So I did this reading for him, and he had some really nice spirits that stepped forward. So I told him what they liked, their messages and things like that, and then he started having these anxiety attacks. And the conclusion that I got from this eventually is that those spirits were really excited to finally speak with him. It was like they have been knocking on the door for a long time, but didn't really know how to approach him. And now, because he came to me for the consultation and wanting to know who his spiritual guides were, he kind of signified to them like, hey, I want to get to know you, I want to know who you are, so you're welcome, and let's get to work. And the thing is that he had never really experienced a spirit before. And this is something that I see a lot. There is a lot of people on Facebook that are claiming to do magic, that are claiming to work with spirits, but they're not. They try, they do the best that they can, but the moment where a spirit actually appears is often they quit doing magic at all, forget about it, move on with their lives, or they get scared and they come to people like me to ask for advice. And this is something that is understandable. I'm not judging anyone, because I went through the same thing. I can best explain this with a little story about something that happened to myself many years ago. So I set up my Govada ancestral shrine, and every day I was praying towards my ancestors, towards my spiritual guides, to come to me, to tell me their messages, to make themselves known to me, so that I could get to know them, know what they looked like, know what their wants were, their dislikes were, and things like that. So I did that for weeks, and finally, in the middle of the night, I woke up after a very dark nightmare, which had to do with other things at that moment. And I'm not going to lie, I was scared shitless. My heart was pounding like crazy. All my hairs were standing straight up. I was afraid. I was afraid like a little boy who thinks there is a monster in his closet and doesn't and wants to hide beneath the sheets. And at that moment, I really thought like, oh my God, there is a negative spirit here, and I need to banish it. And instead of using any of the protocols that I learned to actually banish a spirit, I just panicked and I forgot about all of that. And I started calling upon Saint Michael. I started calling upon Saint Cyprian. I started calling upon my ancestors and my guides. I even called upon Jesus. No lie. And I'm a Catholic, but I wasn't really raised Catholic. So looking back, that's quite funny. To banish the spirit and take it out of my life, out of the room, out of my house, and it disappeared. It took a few minutes and it went away. And the next day, I had a conversation with one of my teachers, and I told him this, and he started laughing, and he said, "So you're calling upon spirits, you are working magic, but when they actually appear, you panic, and you start calling upon spirits you don't even work with." And that had me thinking, it's like, he's right. And so the next day, I meditated and I sat in front of my shrine and I tried to contact whomever, whichever spirit it was. And at that moment, one did step forward. Now, I've been communicating with spirits basically since I was little. The only difference is that back then, I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that were spirits, which is something that I will go into in another video. And then I stopped. I kind of blocked it off for many years. So what I'm trying to say with that is that I had this contact basically my whole life. So at that moment when I sat there and actually opened up myself again to really hear them, I had these thoughts, these strong thoughts coming forward that weren't my own. And the spirit that stepped forward was indeed one of my spiritual cord. And she said, "So you've been calling me this whole time, and then I come, and then you chase me away." And she was pissed off. "Do you want me to come or don't? Because just let me know." And I felt ashamed at that moment, to be honest. So what I learned from that situation is that when they appear, you will feel fear. You will fear anxiety. That is why I don't believe people, especially the New Age cult that is going on at the moment, and has been for some years. It's where I work with archangels, I work with angels, and they're so sweet and kind to me. You're not working with archangels. You haven't met one. There is a reason why the Bible says the first thing that an angel says when he appears to people is, "Do not fear me." Now I want you to think, why is that? Archangels have immense power. And if they would appear in their full force, you would have a big problem. Probably, well, I think at the least, you would have very serious mental problems after that. And in the worst, maybe you just stop existing. I don't know. What I'm trying to say with this is that, if you really worked with spirits, you would know that there are certain things that you will feel and that you will not feel if you have not worked with them. And that's how I often recognize when people actually work magic or actually work with spirits and when they don't. So back to the topic is that when they appear, you will feel fear. You might wake up in the middle of the night and be scared and don't really know what to do. And maybe, like me, start calling upon all these types of spirits to please banish them. Don't. If you have been sitting in front of a shrine and you have been asking these spirits to step forward and to make themselves known to you, then when something happens during the night or during the day, do not be scared. In the case of my client, these spirits were very excited that he finally made it known that he wanted to get to know them. They have been waiting for this for years, and that's the case with many people, because a lot of you out there ignore your spiritual guides, either because you don't know or because you're not interested, because you want to work with Saint Cyprian and you want to work with Saint Michael and you want to work with Santissima Muerte, because that's what everyone does and that's why she must be good to work with, right? That's another topic, but one thing that I can tell you is do not do that. They will come to you, and otherwise first ask them if they're even interested, but that's something for another day. When you finally make it known to some of these spirits that you would like to get to know them, they will appear. And when you have certain abilities that you just haven't developed yet, but kind of lay dormant within your mind, in your spiritual makeup, often these abilities will get triggered once you have a consultation done by someone who knows what he's doing. Now, from my experience, this often happens just for a little bit and it will slowly fade away. But often these abilities open up full force at that moment for like a few days and they slowly flow away. Why this is, I don't know, but that's my experience with these things, also personal. So it is very important to stay calm. And now there was a tip that I read a long time ago on a website somewhere, which I honestly forgot which website that is, which I've advised to a lot of people, and it works really well, is when this happens, let me describe this. When you sit in front of your shrine and you call upon these spirits, and one day in the night you wake up, you feel fear, you feel anxiety, and you know that there is a presence in your room. Do not fear. What you do is you sit up straight, you close your eyes, and you breathe in for 4 seconds. You hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds. And this cycle you keep repeating until you feel calm. And that can take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Do it as long as you need to become calm. The moment where your heart goes from this to this, you know that it's okay. Now, after that, what you should do is you talk to this spirit and you tell it, you ask it why it came and what it wants and who it is, most importantly. Now, depending on how well you have developed your abilities or how or your natural abilities that were always there, you will or will not hear the spirit right away, or you will receive visions. Often it will start with visions, or you will have thoughts, or you will even feel things. Some people have mediumship of feeling. That's a large part in my mediumship. When you keep doing that, at some certain point you will receive an answer. You can even ask it to give you the answer in your dreams, which is a good method, especially for beginners, to learn who the spirit is that they're dealing with and what they want. Um, Now, after you have done this for a few days, but you notice that still you get this. I forgot something. Once you did that, you tell the spirit that you have never experienced the spirit in this way before, that you're new to this, and you ask it to please appear and come to you in a slower way next time. Because often the way I see it is these spirits have been waiting for years for you to appear, for them to make themselves known to you. And the moment where you get this consultation done, you basically open up your door and say, hey, come in. You know, so these people are excited. These spirits are excited. They want to get to know you. They want to talk with you. They walk with you for a reason. So they come to you all excited and they run. Hey, here I am. You know? But you're not used to that feeling. So that energy that just blows over you and you're like, whoa, what is this? And that will strike fear and anxiety. And that is something that is absolutely understandable. So when you've done that for a day or two, 3, and you notice that nothing changes, that you still wake up in the middle of the night and have fear, like genuine fear, even after you tell yourself that you don't have to fear anything because it is your personal spirits that you've called upon, or whatever other spirit you called upon. Then I advise you to have a reading done and to see if possibly there is another spirit in your home trying to mess with you, or maybe someone worked you, which is often not the case, more often than not, to be honest. And that way you will know, and you can be sure if it's one of your spiritual guides, one of your ancestors, one of the spirits that you called upon, or if it's a spirit that you just picked up by going to a cemetery and not really knowing what you were doing, but just taking something, or going to a place where it's haunted without you knowing, and the spirit decided to live with you. So yeah, that's one of the main things that I wanted to say in this video. Let me think, is there anything else? I think that's it. Basically, don't fear it. When you start calling upon spirits, there will be a point where these spirits appear. And when these spirits appear, you will have feelings and sensations that you have never experienced before. And you will be scared. And that's normal. Welcome to working with spirits. For those of you who are just beginning, because nowadays it is a trend to call yourself a witch, and it's even a trend to go into certain African traditions, which is not the reason why I went into it, trust me on that. It's a trend, so everyone is doing it. And it's like, kind of like, you will be popular when you're a witch nowadays. You have to really, really realize what this entails. You have to really think to yourself if this is something that you want. Because when you open things, you can often not close it. And the spiritual world is very real. Spirits are very real. Magic is very real. And there is danger. It can be beautiful, and it can be an utter nightmare. It all depends on what you know, what you learn, what teachers you have, what books you chose to read, and what websites you chose to read, because there is a lot of nonsense out there. 99%, I tell it to you straight, 99% on the web and in books is utter nonsense. Then you have that 1%, well, let's say 96%. And then you have that 4% where people actually tell you what the deal is, what the real rituals are, what the real procedures are. And I tell you now, please do not fall for every single author or website you see or read. Many people out there are just out for either fame or for money. They really are. They claim to be spiritual, but they're not. They just want your money. And there is honestly only a handful of people that I know that are genuine. So be careful with that. Don't trust anyone easily, not even me. I can tell you that I'm honest. I've gone into these traditions to learn things and to be able to help people. And the last thing I want to do is get into problems with my personal spirits because I'm selling lies. So I can say you can trust me, but I also tell you don't. See for yourself. Okay? Trust your own spirits, trust your own instinct, and you will know if something is legit or not. So that's basically it. I hope this video has taught you a little bit. It's one of my first videos, so I'm sure I can improve on things, and by all means tell me the things that I can improve on so I can learn. We all need to learn. But I'm making these videos to help some of you out there who are just beginning. And yeah, that's it. So this is the first one that I'm uploading for this year. I hope to make at least one every 2 weeks. I'm going to try to make at least one a week. The next video will probably be about spiritual baths, some recipes, how to actually prepare them, how to take them, and the clothing to wear, and all these things that come with it. So I will see you guys next time, and I hope that all is well. Ciao.